A very good morning to you guys. I hope you're all doing really well this week. Here is your BTC USDT update. And firstly, we're going to take a look at the weekly. Now, on my last couple of videos, I had been posting with a target in mind, drawing from the last high to the last low to the upside, which was in the region of about $9,400. Okay, and that came in with confluence with regard to this candle formation over here, which is basically this resistance level, and then Fibonacci at 38.2, which is roughly 9.5. So I had been calling 9.394 to be pretty much the top. We had just missed that by what, about $200. And we got our first leg down yesterday. Bearing in mind, guys, this is the weekly, so a lot can happen within this week. All right, this candle may retract. Now we are going to discuss the possibilities of that. Okay, so first things first, let's just note and acknowledge that we did not actually hit the first resistance or even the first Fibonacci, but rather we got some resistance from this level down here, which is quite a weak resistance zone, but nonetheless, that was the level that it had this red candle pullback. Okay. Now, in terms of our current situation and where we are headed, and please bear in mind that I am looking at the weekly chart. So anything can happen within the weekly. So let's just take a look at the weekly first. Now, if you take a look at Fibonacci, all right, I have drawn it from the last low to the last high. That brings us in pretty close to the 23.6, which is roughly $7,700. We obviously use Fibonacci in confluence with support zones, and in this case, the support sits in slightly higher at about $7,800, just under $7,800. Okay, you can see we've hit this now. This is our first leg down, guys. If this level does not hold, I'm going to repeat this. If this level does not hold, there's a very, very, very likely chance that we are going to see $6,800, which is a very strong level of support. Now, I've got my dotted line in here, which is support, and that comes in from these two candles right here. It's weak support, but nonetheless, it is support. So you may see a bit of a wick off this level. So again, on the day within the weekly candle, we may see a bit of a pullback off this level here, but it's quite a weak level. But you never know. You never know. So use this as a weak support level if you wanted to consider buying back in. Of a very, very small percentage, you can start at the top here. But, you know, I mean, like I said, it's very unlikely that we are going to pull back here, okay? Bounce off here, you know, and continue moving to the upside. The next stronger level comes in at about $6,800, and that is in perfect confluence with the 38.2 Fibonacci zone. So that is the first major support zone that I'm looking at, and I will consider that S1. If you are going to ladder buy back into Bitcoin, if you have sold now, then this would be the first place that you start getting back into the market. You will very, very likely see a bounce off this level over here, and perhaps even a continuation. But for me, very likely just a bounce and then a move back up, you know, and then probably find some resistance and then continue back down. Why I say that is because my main target on this leg back down comes in with multiple indicators, okay? So my main target comes in at about $5,500, all right? For the following reasons. Firstly, we've got the 61.8, which is usually the pullback zone or the retracement zone that we look for. So that sits in at 5,448, so call it 5.5. We've got the 50 MA that's sitting in as well at $5,500. So those are two pieces of evidence that we now have. A third piece of evidence that we have is the small candle formation over here, down at the bottom. And last but not least, we've also got the measurement from the top right down to here, brings us into that 30 to 40% area, which is usually the pullback percentage. All right. So we have four pieces of evidence, very strong, to say that this is the main area of buyback. Sorry, not the buyback zone, but rather the bottom, if you will. Now, this is what TA is telling me. So this this is what I will consider as the main area for a bounce off and then the continuation back up to the upside. Now, this could mean a potential cup and handle formation, which would look something like this. All right. So we've got the cup part, and then we've got the handle, and then on completion of this handle over here at the top, we will then have the breakout to the upside. All right. That is generally what we see with that type of cup and handle scenario. Alternatively, it could also be a W formation. So we have, you know, and then a bounce off here, back down, and then back down here with a bounce to the upside, which, I mean, I don't know how likely that is. It depends, obviously, on the volume and the momentum at the time. But that would mean that we are essentially coming back down to $3,200. And I just don't foresee that happening. We've got a lot more indicators pointing to the 5-5 area. So the cup and handle would make more sense to me. All right. So those are your buyback zones. Take a snapshot of this. Just write them down. If you don't have a piece of paper or a pen, I will just call them out for you. So we're looking at $6,800. We're looking at a small level at about $6,200, and the main area of buyback at around $5,500. Guys, place your orders about $100 higher than the market, so we beat the bots and beat the rest of the market, so that we make sure that you do get triggered on your buys. All right, very, very important. Then let's take a look at the daily as well to see what's happening. Right, so here, okay, so Fibonacci will be exactly the same, and the one thing that I do want to look out for here is the 50 MA, which will come in line with that 6.8. Now, I mentioned earlier that the first strong zone of support will be about $6,800, and the daily is showing us this because we've got the 50 MA that's coming into confluence with the 6.8 zone. So that would be a very likely area for us to find some support from. So like I said, you may want to consider buying or ladder buying starting from this point. Moving on to the 4 hour, we've got some support at 7.8. You can see that this 200 MA sits beautifully in line with this current dotted line of mine at $7,800, which is slight support, not too strong because this is the 4 hour and it's intraday. Okay, so we're not looking to be day traders or quick profits. We're looking for long-term, strong, calculated results. So that being said, we can see that this dotted line, as I mentioned earlier, is a weak support zone, but this 200 MA does support that theory, and we will very likely see perhaps, you know, a very small wick off this area. But if you guys see green on the day, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you stick to this weekly chart, and only when we see this moving back up, then we know we're moving back up, because this is the biggest scheme of things. This 4 hour doesn't mean anything. It just may retract us in this candle somewhat, you know, slightly backwards, and then and then perhaps a continuation back down. So you guys don't want to buy back in, you know, because you suddenly see, you know, 3-4% on the day, and then the next day it dumps. So just be very, very careful of that. It is a very dangerous time in the market. There are a lot of conflicting factors, so please just be wary. There's, you know, a lot of guys may come into the market with panic selling. You know, on a green day, maybe there'll be FOMO driving the market up, you know, but certainly not the organic run that you're looking for. So just be mindful and just stick to the strategy. All right. So look at the support zones, look at the buy zones, stick to the weekly chart, and you guys will be all right. On the daily, there was something quite interesting that I had noticed yesterday. Let me just pull this back a little bit. Sorry, guys. I don't have my mouse today, so I'm using my fingers. No. There we go. Where is it? Okay, so we had a potential inverted head and shoulders here. I'm not even seeing it right now. Just hold on a second. But anyway, nonetheless, it is invalid because it had broken through the shoulder line, which is also the trend line running from this angle right here. We can see that we had broken this trend quite strongly right there. Okay, so that was our first signal that the first leg back in is indeed now coming. So just one other thing, all right, with regard to Fibonacci, our first support zone. So currently we are sitting at our first support zone. Okay, and that being said, this 9-4 may still happen. So if you didn't get out the market and you missed this drop, I would not recommend that you get out right now. I would recommend that you perhaps run a stop loss slightly below the support zone so that if it does drop, then at least you are safe. But what may happen from this level over here, because it's the first support zone, all right, this just may be a short-term pullback, and then we may just see a bounce off of this level, and this thing might wick all the way up. And then a reverse may happen, and then we may potentially see that $9,400. So we are only sitting at the first support zone, all right? So it is a critical time right now, so I would not recommend that you just kind of get out the market based off panic selling, or panic rather. And I would rather say, be strategic and rather set a stop loss if you've missed this leg down, okay? Don't sell now because we are sitting at a quite a strong support zone, and the market may retract off the zone, as I said, and then reverse, and then find that $9,400 area that we've been looking for. So just be mindful of that. Don't ever chase the market. Just stick to the strategy, run your stop losses, and run your buy orders. And that is it for today's analysis. I hope that was quite clear for you guys. There is one other thing that I want to have a look at, and that is RSI. Let's just see where RSI is sitting. Probably overbought. Very, very likely going to be in the overbought zone. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we are in the overbought zone, and it looks like we are trying to pull back in, coming back into the neutral space, which will allow us to fuel back up and continue our run to the upside. There's obviously the questions that are floating around. Are we in the bull run? Has the bull run started? So on and so forth. Yes, there are signs of a bull run that are starting, but I would not say that the bull run is officially here just yet. We would need to see how we test this reversal back down, and what the volume will be moving forward. So yes, there are signs of a bull run. I'm very optimistic about it, but it's not going to happen overnight, and there will be a very strong pullback, as I've mentioned multiple times in my videos, due to this parabolic run that we've seen. Guys, if you look at this, we've had green week after week after week after week. And if you look at the monthly as well, we've had pretty much 4 months of upside, which hardly ever happens. I mean, even in 2017, when we had that run to the upside, we had three massive candles followed by a big drop down. So here we've got 4 candles. It's the first time we've seen this now in recent times. So there's obviously going to be quite a strong pullback, and we can see that on this monthly, it's quite flat in terms of this candle reversal. I mean, this opening in terms of the way back down opened at exactly where last month's candle closed. So this may well be the pullback, but let's just see how we test the 7-8 level or 7-7 level. Run your stop losses with your buyback zones at S1, S2, and S3. S3 being the strongest because of the 50 MA, the 61.8 Fibonacci, the candle formation, and of course the 30 to 40% pullback zone that we often look for. That is it for today's TA. I hope you guys benefit from this. If there are any questions, do let me know. And that's it. I wish you guys a fantastic week ahead. Please, I kindly ask you to just like and share this video to the max and just help me build, or help us build, our Crypto Nomads community. I would really, really appreciate that. Other than that, I wish you guys a fantastic week ahead, and I'll get back to you guys next week. Cheers for now.